Mike Norvell just made a very controversial decision with his current FSU coaching staff. It was announced Thursday evening that not most, but all, the entirety of FSU football's assistant coaching staff would not only be retained, but would receive contract extensions at least until February of 2026. Now, there's some great members on this staff. A lot of real program building guys like Adam Fuller, Alex Atkins, who both got extended. Actually, those guys got extended through 2027. And I think that's an obvious choice, right? I know Fuller had a bit of a shaky start here, but I think he's really proved himself, especially here in 2023 with an absolutely elite defense. And Alex Atkins is a great coach and one of the top recruiters on the whole staff. I'm not even mad about keeping on tight ends coach Chris Thompson or Ron Dugans. I think not only your development, but recruiting there at tight end and receiver are more than fine. And I think receiver is actually really good. My main issue, and in my opinion, the biggest shocker on this list, is extending defensive ends and special teams coach John Papuchis, linebackers coach Randy Shannon. And as much as I hate to say it, I'm really shocked that Odell Higgins got a contract extension. I honestly thought he might have retired here pretty soon. Now, for starters, I love Odell. He's an FSU legend. He's even been interim head coach here a few times. I think he loves this program more than anything, and we love him right back for everything he's done. But the recruiting along that defensive line is atrocious right now. And that's a common theme with the other two coaches on the staff as well. Defensive line, edge, and linebacker recruiting has been horrible in recent years. I went and checked, and if you look back over the last 6 recruiting cycles, so dating back to the 2019 cycle, we've only gotten 3 blue chip linebackers, all of which were still only 4 stars. Along the defensive line, we've gotten 4 blue chip recruits out of high school, and that's including 2 guys from last year's class in KJ Sampson and Lamont Green Jr. So that's 2 guys that were true freshmen in 2023, and we have no idea what their careers will be like at FSU. The other guys are George Wilson and Quayshawn Fuller, who have both transferred out. So again, that's 3 blue chip linebackers and 4 blue chip defensive line recruits in the last 6 cycles. For comparison, Georgia signed 3 blue chip linebackers in the 2024 cycle alone, one of which is a 5-star and a top 10 player nationally, along with 4 4-star defensive linemen. Again, just in 2023, they have just as many blue chip players along the defensive line and that linebacker as Florida State has brought into the program since 2019. That's unacceptable, and now you see why Georgia has 2 national championships in the last 3 years. And on top of that, you just look at the recruiting misses we've had. Armando Blunt was a 5-star defensive end that you got to not only commit to you, but reclassify from the 2025 cycle, flips Miami on signing day. You missed on Ruben Bain, Wesley Basaint, 5-star defensive lineman LJ McCray. You had Keldrick Falk, who was committed to you for quite a few months. He flips to Auburn on signing day. All these guys are defensive line or linebacker positions. It's horrible at this point, and it's really not on par and pace with the offensive side of the ball. Recruiting there is fine. And really, even the defensive back / safety position, recruiting there is fine with Pat Surtain. You really just have those couple weak links at recruiters there along the defensive line, and it's really starting to hurt the program. And that's why I expected to see at least 1 or 2 of these guys get replaced. I definitely didn't expect a 2-year extension out of all of them. Now, yes, they've had some elite grabs out of the portal. Jermaine Johnson, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, and I'm not taking anything away from that because you can't. Those are elite gets. Those are guys who have went on to do great things at FSU. But for one, you can't always count on that caliber of player being available in the portal every year. 2, even some of the portal hype has kind of seemed to taper off recently. Florida State just got out recruited for probably the best edge rusher in the portal in Nick Sorton from Purdue, who just committed to Texas A&M. I would just think after the way we've proven to take guys, especially at the defensive end position, and turn them into first-round draft picks, we have a lot of development to sell, so why can't we recruit there better? And that's one thing I will say. I will give these coaches credit for that they are good at developing players. And I know that that's the reason Mike hired and extended them. I'm not convinced any other linebackers coach in the country would have gotten this level of play out of a guy like Kalen DeLoach. So I get it. You can't have a staff full of guys who can't coach even if they are good recruiters. But this is Florida State, and we're expecting to be consistently competitive in this sport. So you can't be getting out-recruited constantly in the trenches, especially by programs who you constantly beat on the field, like Miami or Florida. Imagine if you had Randy and Odell's development, but we're working with 5-star talent out of high school. It's also not even the skill level that I just have an issue with, but those positions are always lacking depth. Those are always our thinnest positions year in and year out. So we're lacking talent and numbers there. You lose three linebackers this year. DJ Lundy transferred, Tatum Bethune and Kalen DeLoach are out of eligibility. They're headed to the NFL. So that linebacker position is incredibly thin. I think it speaks volumes that no one tried to poach our coaches yet. We just went 13-0. Our assistants should be getting calls like crazy, left and right, with job offers or promotions or whatever. But it's not happening. And I think if you're an FSU fan, this is where the main concern lies. The recruiting has just got to improve. If you want to be competitive year in and year out against the Georgias and the Alabamas and Ohio States of the world, you've got to have better trenches. And you may not always be able to rely on the portal or take in several years to develop three-star kids out of high school. Now, I love Mike Norvell, and I 100% think he's the guy for FSU. I think he'll do great, great things here. He already has, and I don't expect him to stop anytime soon. And maybe he knows something here that we don't. Maybe he has faith that the recruiting will improve, and I'll ride with that because he's earned it. He's earned the benefit of the doubt here. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed in seeing a few of these coaches get extended. But maybe that's just me. I want to hear from you guys, though. What do you think? Was this the right call, or do you think Mike should have made some coaching changes? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, like, subscribe, and let's talk Noles.